Hello, we are live and we are talking about raising accountable kids part 2 today. So this is going to be the part where we as parents put away all of our excuses. Hi Faith Family Fitness, hi Bree Marie. As you guys are hopping on, let me know where you are watching from and how many kids you have. Hey Casey. So this is something that, coming from a broken home myself, I know firsthand how easy it is to use that as an excuse for poor parenting habits. And again, I have made so many of them, it's not even funny. So never do I come on here and point a finger. I just learn better and then I turn around and teach better. That's it. So something we're going to talk about today are common excuses and common, well, I can't do this because I was raised like this, or I make this choice because that's all I was ever known. No one ever taught me. And we're going to talk about how to overcome those excuses. So if you're watching on YouTube or you are new to my Instagram, my name's Tanya Johnson. I'm the founder of Helping Hearts Homeschool. And basically I founded Helping Hearts Homeschool about 1.5 years ago as a way to teach parents and grandparents how to put the joy back into their homeschool. So I will never tell you that homeschooling is a wonderful journey of rainbows and unicorn farts, but I will tell you that it's a very joyful journey with implementing just a few changes and scheduling tips and things like that. Now, having said that, this specific series that we're on with raising accountable kids has nothing to do with homeschooling. So this is going to be all across the board. If you're a parent, this is something that I would watch. I would post it on your social media and I would share it with your friends that have kids. This is something that we're raising the next generation and we need to do better. So just a reminder, this series comes from the book Raising Accountable Kids. I did not make any of this up. It is something I'm super passionate about. I absolutely loved the book. I'd recommend that you go read it yourself. And until then, I'm going to share you the Cliff Notes. So, hi His Love Her Home. Hi Batmobile 777. Crown Jewel Fit. Mueller 112. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. The first thing that we're going to cover are QBQs. And QBQs are questions behind the question. So, questions behind the question, or QBQs as we're going to call them throughout this, because your girl cannot say question behind the question quickly to save her life. So we're just going to go with QBQs. And I'm going to say hydrated because I come on here and cough every single time, and we're not doing that today. They start with the word how or what, and then they use the personal pronoun I. So they put full responsibility back on us as parents instead of shifting the responsibility to our kids. Now, for example, how many of y'all drop me a 1 in the comments if you have ever gotten irritated because your kid just leaves their crap everywhere? Listen, I have so many 1s in the comments, it's not even funny. Hey, Rachel! Girl, I've not seen you in too long. My husband and I were just talking about going down or up, I don't know where you live, but to visit your family. So you should message me with what y'all's schedule looks like, because I clearly haven't messaged you yet. But anyways, drop me a 1 if you gotten irritated because your kid leaves the crap everywhere. You clean the house, you walk back into the room 20 minutes later and it looks like a tornado went through it. And your first response is, why the heck do you leave stuff everywhere? Why are you so messy? Why can't you learn to pick up after yourself? It's pushing the blame 100% onto our kids. Now, I would say it's a little different if your kid is like 16 or 17. The accountability should already be there. However, if they still can't clean up after themselves, let's take responsibility back onto us and ask the question of, what can I do? Start with the word what, use the personal pronoun I. What can I do to motivate you to clean better? What can I do to help you pick up after yourself? How can I be an example of cleaning as I go so you emulate what I'm doing? So we want to always take the responsibility and always put the accountability back on ourselves. Now, once we fully get into the habit of using QBQs, we can teach that to our kids. It is very hard to teach our kids to take responsibility, and we're going to get into that, don't worry. But this series starts with us because we as the parents are the ones that set the example for the kids. So it is very hard to teach our kids how to automatically look inward and take the accountability for their actions when we're always looking outward and putting the blame on somebody else. Now, I can tell you that our language tells people if we play the victim card or not. Now, a lot of times I'll meet somebody that says, oh yeah, I practice growth mindset, I don't do the victim thing, and then every word out of their mouth is a complaint about somebody else, which tells me they absolutely play the victim card. But the sad thing is they may not even know it. I did not know it for a long time because I fell into that trap. The way that I was raised in playing the victim card all the time. So I just thought that it was normal. When I got out of that and I started doing a lot of personal development, I knew the tools of how to take accountability, but my language still told people that I played the victim all the time. It was things like, oh, my boss just does this and I just can't help it. And man, we're just always broke and I don't know why. Instead of taking accountability, I just like, oh, circumstances, can't do anything about it. For example, I have three things. I have 3 things. 2 of them I personally used to say. I'm just going to throw myself under the bus because, again, what's the point of coming on and doing teachings and trainings for you guys if I don't show y'all that I made these same mistakes? I'm not coming to you from a pedestal. I'm simply coming to you from, hey, learn from my mistake instead of having to suffer through it because it's way more fun that way. By the way, just got out of the pool, so sorry, not sorry if this is what I look like on a regular basis. We basically live out here. One of the things I used to say all the time, my husband works incredibly hard. I'm talking 12 to 15 hours a day. Now, he doesn't work those kind of shifts anymore because he's worked his way up the corporate ladder, and with that comes a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more time with your family. But we've been married for 9 years. Majority of those 9 years, he has worked his dang butt off 5 and 6 days a week. And that's not including commuting to work. So when he's not at work, he likes to sit his butt in front of the TV and do nothing but watch TV. So I would get irritated because he was home very little, and when he was home, his butt was parked in front of the television. So a statement I would often say is, why the heck do you spend all of your time in front of the TV? It's such a waste of time. And some of y'all, I've said that to you about my husband, not even knowing how my language is coming across, because it is very, very irritating. And I'm not saying I didn't have a right to be irritated. I had every right to be irritated. But instead of using the language of, well, I just can't change this, and complaining about it, the language I should have been using is, how can I communicate better to my husband that I feel neglected because he's spending so much time in the television? And that's exactly what I did. And you know what? When I talked to him, guess what? He changed. And I'm not saying he doesn't still like to watch TV, because my boy likes some sports. Right now, like, shoot. And I'm looking up, because, again, we're at the pool, so I'm just keeping an eye out. He likes to watch some sports. He spent so many hours in front of the TV yesterday, it wasn't even funny. But now we communicate, and he'll let me know, hey, I know you, because he knows he does not plan out his week. I plan out my week. He knows my week is planned out Sunday night. I have every 15 minutes scheduled for the next 7 days. I know some of y'all think I'm crazy. I have too many moving parts not to be scheduled. Doesn't always go 100% as planned, but I get all my stuff done because I am very scheduled. Now, he does not do that. He does not operate like that, and that's fine. Different personalities, but he knows I do. So he'll come to me usually on Sunday afternoon and say, hey, there's games on this night and this night and this night. I'd like to sit down and watch them. Can we schedule our together time around that? Or would you like to sit down and watch one of the games with me as our date night this week? And sometimes I do, because it's all about compromise. I don't get to say all of our dates are things that I want to do. Sometimes I got to suffer through sitting through a football game or a baseball game and eating some popcorn and calling that a date, because compromise. Again, not fair that it's my way or the highway. That's not how marriage works. Another thing that he'll do is he'll say, hey, I've got a day off this day, or I've got a few hours off this day. Do we want to plan something to go out and do as a family? So now that we communicate, I don't feel neglected anymore, and he still gets plenty of television time. But me sitting back and complaining didn't help anything. I had to learn to use QBQ questions, take accountability to fix what I could fix, which communicating to my husband is something I have full control over. And I'm lucky enough that my husband is an amazing communicator, and he tries just as hard as I do in our marriage. I know that is not always the case, but it is a start to take accountability. The second thing is not something that I personally said. I only have 1 kid, so I don't struggle with this. This is something, I have a homeschool mom friend who has 10 kids. One's a senior in high school, and one is in preschool, and the rest are in between. So something that she caught herself saying a lot, and drop me a 2 if you have ever said this, is, why the heck are there so many dirty cups sitting around my house? Again, I don't struggle with this. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I have 1 kid. I know who did it. I don't have to ask who the heck is leaving dirty dishes. Now, what she did, in my opinion, was genius, and she probably stole it from someone. I doubt she's the first mom to have this, the first mom of multiples to have this, like, revelation. But what she did is she went out and bought 10 all the same color cup. They're like the little dollar cups, plastic cups you get at Walmart, the plastic drinking cups. Those are the only drinking cups she has in her house. Those are the only cups her kids are allowed to use for just random drinks throughout the day. They each have their name on them in a permanent marker, so each kid has one cup. When mom finds a cup sitting around the house, she doesn't have to ask who leaves all the cups around, because it's marked. The evidence is right there. Oop, that's little Susie's cup. Little Susie, come here. So one, she's working smarter, not harder, which y'all know I'm a huge fan of. But she stopped asking, why are my kids leaving cups out? How, who's leaving the mess? Why are there cups everywhere? And she started asking, how can I eliminate all the extra cups around the house? One, putting accountability on her kids, which are doing the mess. There's no guesswork to who's doing it. One person is leaving that cup, the one person that has their name on it. And typically, they're going to be embarrassed enough after getting punished a few times for that, or disciplined, or whatever you're doing for that situation, that they're going to start picking up after themselves. So, smart mom, like, if y'all need to use that hack, use it. Again, it's not mine. I thought it was pretty genius. This is one that I used to say. Why are we always so broke? Why are we working all the time, but our money's always gone? Instead, I started asking, how can I be a better steward of my money? When we started doing that and we realized, oh, look, we did everything we were supposed to. We went to college. We did all the things. Yet, and we have decent jobs, yet we don't have a lot of extra money at the end of the month, and we'd like some extra money. Then my next question was, how can I bring in some extra money? And I'll tell you, this is something that I talk to parents about constantly. Something I teach is how to make money on social media. If you're watching this, obviously, you have a social media or a YouTube. It's going to be linked down below on my YouTube. Everything's going to be linked on the YouTube corresponding to this. So if you have not, it'll be linked up in the stories if you're on Instagram a little bit later. And if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description box. If you want to make extra money, don't complain about being broke. Just go make some extra money. It's linked down there. No MLMs, no network marketing. There's not like a company you're joining. It's just a simple way to make money on social media that literally anyone and their mom can do. Hey, Munchkin, you want to say hi real quick? And can you turn that down? She has earned 30 minutes of TV time today. So she's getting her 30 minutes, but it's loud. But she wanted to say hi. I told her I'd call her over to say hi in a minute. Say hi. Someone just got out of the pool too. So, like I said, taking accountability, a huge part of that is language. And our language gives us away, because if you're somebody who doesn't practice growth mindset and you are playing the victim, even if you're telling people you're not, your language is outing you. And again, that was me for years. For years, I knew all the concepts. I thought that I had arrived when it came to not playing the victim. And then my husband was the one who actually pointed it out, and I was like, oh crap. I'm totally playing the victim, and I don't even know it. Like, and subconsciously, I still had that victim mindset going on. By the way, this is pink lemonade. I do not sell this. My friend Rachel Hughes sent this to me. It is collagen, drinkable collagen. So it helps with like hair growth, with skin, with nails. My nails don't need help because I wear fake nails, but nails, skin, all the things, everything collagen does. Like, it's a super high quality, I guess would be the word. I would say super high concentrate, but that's not the right word. Super high quality collagen. And it tastes exactly like pink lemonade. I was a little sketched at first because I love me some pink lemonade, but this is legit. It's perfect to sit out and like drink by the pool. And it's, I don't know, I really like it. So if you're looking for some really good collagen that you can drink, go ahead and hit her up. She's linked down in the comments. I would recommend this hands down, taste alone. Like, it's the real deal. It's really good. Now I do want to remind you, when it comes to teaching your kids accountability, now is better than later. You may be thinking, oh, well, Tanya, my kids are already teenagers. What's the point? Something is better than nothing. It does not matter if for 14 years you let them play the victim, and you played the victim, and you showed them how to play the victim, and you never taught accountability, you never took accountability for anything. It's better to start and practice that for 4 years than to say, oh, well, all's lost. My kid's almost 18. It doesn't matter. Now, the most common excuse for playing the victim and the most common excuse for not taking accountability, and people don't realize it's playing the victim, but it is playing the victim, is the excuse of no one ever taught me. Y'all that know my background, I grew up dirt poor, on welfare, in and out of foster care. My family was in and out of foster care systems, not just me. I personally never went to foster care, but I lived with people at church all the time. So my family was in and out of the government programs. I myself took 2 years of court-mandated anger management because I just had so many issues going on. Excuse me. Lived in a home that had a lot of addictions going on, and without getting too much into details, just not a good environment for kids at all. And so when I moved out on my own, I went to college at 16. I graduated with honors. The education side came easy to me. Getting married, having a healthy relationship, raising a kid in a healthy way with healthy mindsets did not come easy to me. And I found myself saying things like, this is just the way I was raised. No one ever taught me. And I'm just going to give you a few things that I personally said. I think these are all things that I said. One, I was always short-tempered with Lori and with Brett. I had zero patience. I snapped at everybody. And I would always say, I just don't know why I'm so angry. I just don't know why I don't have any patience. Being a mom maybe just isn't for me. Like, it was always playing the victim card. And I always said, well, I grew up in a house that had a lot of yelling. That's just how we dealt with things. There's just no way to overcome that. And when I started asking, well, what can I do to overcome my anger issues? What can I do to be kinder and speak kinder to my husband and to my daughter? What can I do to be a better mom and to be a better wife? And I started reading books. I started listening to podcasts, and I just started changing one thing at a time. I will say now, my daughter's 8. Thankfully, she does not remember a lot of the times that I snapped at her. Now, compared to even 5 years ago, I am 1,000% better mom and better wife than I was. But my goal is 5 years from now to be able to say the exact same thing, because you never arrive. You're always going to be growing. If you're not growing, you're going backwards. That's just how it works. So my goal by the time she graduates is to be the best parent that I possibly could be for her, and sooner rather than later. So I'm going to constantly be growing. Another one that my husband actually was irritated with this one. He grew up in a house that was very, very clean. His mom is an excellent housekeeper. I grew up in a house, my mom legitimately is a hoarder. Like, could be on the television show, we couldn't see our floors half the time. And that is not a slight on her. Again, we all deal with certain things. She has a lot of mental health issues that she struggles with due to losing a husband really early in life and just a host of things. So my mom and I are really, really good friends now. She knows every time I share a story about our upbringing, I don't hold any, grudge or ill will or anything toward her. You do what you know to do. Having said that, she was a hoarder. I was never taught how to clean. And so my husband would get a little irritated because I knew that I wanted to keep a clean house for him. However, my version of clean was not clean. My version of clean was, we don't have like dirty clothes on the floor. They're just all in the hamper and haven't been, cleaned for a week. We don't have mold growing on our dishes. True story. That was a thing when I was a kid. But we have a sink full of dirty dishes from a couple of days ago. No, they're not that bad, but like they're at least not on the counters, right? And I was not very clean. So I would get frustrated with myself. I'd get frustrated with him. And this is when we were both working. He was helping, I was helping. But part of my duties were house cleaning, and I didn't do them very well. And he would get irritated, and then we would try to communicate, and it would turn into a fight. And the thing I kept coming back to is, honey, I don't know how to clean. Like, I do not know how to clean. When I started asking, how can I learn to keep my house clean? First off, thousands of YouTube videos, and guess how I learned how to clean a toilet? I literally went to YouTube. Like, no shame in my game. That's how I learned how to clean. Hey, Amber. So that was something that I was not raised in a way where I was taught, but I learned how to teach myself and use the resources that are available, which in today's day and age, you really can learn how to do anything. Like, we have so much free information at our fingertips. The last one I'll share with you is, why is my family's nutrition so poor? True story. Growing up, we would go through a 24-pack. Now, there were 5 kids and my mom in the house. However, 5 kids all in the span of 7 years, so we were really close. And I was the oldest. And I was like 10 or 11 when we were doing this. We would go through 2 24 packs every single day of Coke. I think here y'all call it soda, but in New Mexico, everything is Coke. So different flavors, but it's all called Coke. Every single day. We ate whatever we wanted, whenever we wanted. There was no nutritional guide at all. We lived on off-brand Hamburger Helper, tons and tons of bread. And no, we grew up very, very poor. We were in food lines all the time. We called them commodities. I think up here, people call them food lines. But usually the free stuff that you get is not super nutritious. I can remember, my husband laughed at me for this. The first meal I made him when we were dating was boxed macaroni and a can of tuna mixed in with it. And I knew he didn't like it because he didn't go back for seconds. And my husband ain't exactly shy about eating. So when he did not go back for seconds, I was like, wonder why he doesn't like this. This is like a gourmet meal. Because growing up, we didn't have a lot of meat because we didn't have a lot of money. So when food stamps would come in, my mom would buy macaroni and tuna, and those are also the same things that would come in our commodity boxes. So usually once or twice a week, our dinner would be a box of off-brand, usually expired macaroni and an old can of tuna. And she would make like 4 or 5 boxes of macaroni, 1 can of tuna, and then we'd have 3 or 4 slices of white bread on the side. And that's what we would eat for dinner. So I had no idea how to make nutritious meals. And I will say up until probably 2.5 years ago, I still didn't know. I looked online a little bit. We did a few fad diets like keto and that kind of stuff and found out quickly like that wasn't sustainable for a family to be doing. So now we are on just clean eating and we eat pretty nutritious foods majority of the time. We follow the 80-20 rule. But it was very easy for me to say, well, honey, I don't even know what to cook that would be considered healthy because I can probably name on one hand how many times we had a healthy dinner. And again, that's not a slight on my mom. When you grow up as poor as we did, I'm talking there were 6 of us, including my mom, and she, I believe, got, majority of our life, got $1,200 a month, and that included our food stamps. So, I don't know if y'all try to live on $1,200 a month. It's not a lot of money, especially when you got 5 little kids running around. And that was for food, for diapers, because most of the time she had somebody in diapers, for heat, for NIPSCO, which is our electric, for water, for food, for rent, for all of it. So a lot of the times our food was whatever people would donate for free, and again, usually that's not super nutritious. We would go to a place called La Casa de la Hope once a week, and they would give you a bag of food. We would go to, there was a local church we'd go to once a week, and they would give you a bag of food. There was a monthly food line that I remember standing in for so long. My mom would drag all 5 of us out there because we were too little to stay home. And they would give us 2 giant boxes of food because you got so much food per person in your family. So my mom had enough that she got 2 big boxes. Most of it was things like white rice, powdered milk. To this day, I cannot have powdered milk. It just grosses me out so much. Tuna, expired macaroni, lots and lots of different pastas, off-brand Hamburger Helper, bread that usually was fairly stale, cheese that sometimes had mold on it. You would just cut it off and eat it. Lots of stuff that now I would look at and be like, I don't want to eat that. Not that I'm too good for it. I just really hope, I pray that I don't ever have to do that. And as an adult, I've never had to stand in food lines, but we did have a point where we were living off of ramen noodles because we did not have a lot of money. And we made a little too much to qualify for government assistance, which I don't know that we would have taken it anyways, but I know we did look into it to kind of see. And I think we made just a few $1,000s more. But we didn't make enough to live comfortably, and that's where I had to ask myself, okay, how can I make more money? And boom. That's kind of what we decided to do. Now, QBQs, in short, you go on and on with all the examples, but it puts the accountability back on you as a parent. So if you didn't have a good upbringing, I'm sorry, and I can relate to you, and I empathize with you because, trust me, it is so much easier said than done. And people who didn't grow up with the trauma and the just chains that come along with growing up in a family like what I did have no idea how hard it is to correct that. But at the end of the day, you're now a parent. It's on you. God gave you the kids, or you chose to have the kids, or however they came to be. At the end of the day, you are the parent. You have to take responsibility. You have to take accountability so you can teach your kids to be accountable. I think that is it for this week. Next week, we're actually going to talk about substitute parents. This is something in America that is a huge, huge, huge problem, and something that I myself have fallen prey to. And we're just going to talk about how to take control back, and like take control of our families back from fill in the blank. So we're going to talk about a few different things. I hope you all found value. If you did, feel free to share this out. I'd love to hear what you took away in the comments. Let me know. I love to get back and kind of have conversations with you guys. And until then, this is Tanya Johnson, and I'm reporting to you from the trenches of parenting because I am right along with you. Have an awesome rest of your day, y'all. Talk to you later.